Good evening, everyone. Let me turn this down because I'm hearing some reverb. Hopefully, you guys can hear me because I have been having some difficulties with my audio. But good evening, Dawn Haley, Windy City Block by Block Real Estate Show, and I am your host, and I am trying to bring up. There we go. I am your host, Dawn Haley, and I'm always so glad to come and talk to you about real estate. It's still a lot of interesting things going on, but first, how is everybody doing? I hope you're still enjoying the little summer we have left. We've got a day coming that we'll be off, and hopefully you can enjoy it with family. Hopefully you're also thinking about others because it's kind of weird out here now. It's like people are in a hurry, people are angry, and people just don't care about humanity right now. And so it's just, even though all this stuff is going on, we can still see the goodness that is before us and enjoy God's gifts that He provides us with. So anyway, I'm feeling good today because I had a chance with our non-for-profit organization. We were out earlier today in Harvey, and we were serving the poor and needy. And it's always good. Again, like I said, just not always be so caught up in your own little, worries of what's going on. So, but that was a good thing. So that was great, and I'm glad we did that. And I still had the energy to come back and do my show. But anyway, we're gonna talk about a few things. Well, first, let's talk about some of you, especially that are in the Thornton Township. You're starting to get letters from attorneys saying, "Hey, why don't you let me help you reduce your assessment?" And that's a good thing because I don't know about your taxes, but taxes are now just as high as your principal and interest. And if you're on a fixed income and your taxes are $500 or $600 a month, everybody should try. I don't care. I don't care if you live in a hut. Everybody should reduce their taxes. And I am going to go here and I'm going to start. Why is that doing that? Okay, well, maybe it just wants to do that. All right, let me get that off. I'm still learning a few things about my buttons. And so, but I still have fun in learning. But anyway, I don't care what kind of property you have. And I'm going to roll this up and we're going to get this going. Yeah, there we go. I don't care what kind of property. We're going to make that a little smaller. Make that a little smaller. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. I don't care what kind of property you have. You want to begin. Come on, let's start. All right, there you go. You want to begin. Yes. You want to begin to try and have your property taxes assessed at a lower rate if you can. Now, you could do it on your own. You could go on, let me pop this up. You could go on to the Cook County website. Let me open that up. There we go. You can go on to the Cook County. There we go. I'm doing good. You can go on the Cook County website, and there you will start your application and begin to at least appeal in the first step. Because one of the things that took me a little while to understand is there's two steps. And if you can get the assessor's office to bring down the assessed value, hooray. But sometimes it's not that easy. You got to go the next step and go through the Board of Appeals. And that's when you provide information, comps to show where your property taxes are not the same as another property that's similar to yours. And so, again, like I said, I did mines for a number of years. And then one day a letter came, as they normally do around the time that the appeals process opens for Thornton Township. It opens up around August 9th, and then it ends, I think, a month later. So anyway, you get these letters coming from, and now they seem to be more coming at you. And so my husband said, "Hey, why don't we try an attorney?" And of course, I'm like, "Well, I'm a realtor. I know what I'm doing, But I humbled myself and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna, let hear what my husband has to say because, we all have to listen to each other." But anyway, we decided to, look, get the service of the tax called tax reducer. And so I kind of like, we're not gonna get, we're not gonna get our taxes reduced. To my surprise, we were able to get the taxes reduced about a little under $1,000, and that was almost $100 off of our mortgage payment. So, and that could be going towards another bill. So I say that to say, yes, you can, if you want to, you can appeal your taxes yourself. It doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of time. You go online. That, like I said, you go to the Cook County assessor's office, and then you go and you just apply for it, put in your PIN number. You got to know your PIN number, and then you wait. And then once you get a response, they'll let you know whether or not they're giving it to you based on them doing their research, their algorithm search to see if your property is in line with other properties similar to yours. Now, if it's not, then of course, or if it is, then you'll get a letter saying, "Hey, sorry, you won't be getting it." It's not going to be that verbatim, but anyway, you'll be told you're not. Then that's not the end. You then have the opportunity to go to the Board of Appeals. And like I said, we have been using attorneys because real estate attorneys who do this know, I don't want to use the word the game, but they know the process. And so something that even me myself, being a real estate broker, let me take this off because it's all done. Being a real estate broker, I may not know everything, and I don't claim to know. So so hiring this attorney to do it, and we're doing it again, and so we're hoping that we can, because real estate taxes are one of those unfortunate things that do go up, and there's nothing really you can do about it because what they do is they determine what their budget is, and then they, based on the assessed value, they determine what your amount is going to be. Now, most people don't appeal or go through the Board of Appeals. And so you just typically suck it up and deal with those taxes. And sometimes those taxes can be the difference of somebody staying in the home. So the moral to the story is you definitely want to appeal your taxes. And the price to do it, we paid, let's say, I said we got about a little under $1,000. We paid almost $450 for the attorney to take care of that. And if you think about it, we were saving $100, cost us $450. It was worth the investment. So if you get those letters, Google them, find out what the reviews are. And if they don't sound all that good, there's other ones that you can consider to try and get that done. But just remember, you don't owe anything unless they win. So they're motivated to definitely try to get your tax reduced, your taxes, your real estate assessments reduced. So with that said, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, I want to talk about a couple of things. I'm still, I really get discouraged sometimes when I hear some of the basic things that's not. Let me take that off. We don't need that anymore. Take that off. I get real discouraged when I hear that consumers are not getting consulted on basic things. And what I say by that, great resource. I was told that a particular process or client did not have a home inspection. And of course, me, why didn't they have a home inspection? And I was shocked when I was told by an attorney that the realtor said, well, because you're getting it, because it's an because it's an FHA. I gotta slow down. Sometimes I get excited because it is an FHA deal. An appraiser will go in and tell you the condition of the property. No, an appraiser does not tell you the condition of the property. The appraiser tells you what it's valued. Now, an FHA may see things such as that are safety issues in the property, but they're not going to do what an inspector will do to give you an overall view of the house so you can determine whether or not that is what you want, that's the property you want to buy. So when I hear things like that, I'm just going to gloss over just a few things because I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. But I just want to gloss over a few things that I just, if you're not in the market but you know someone who is, please just share this information with them, because again, if I'm not the one that they're using to help them, at least it's information. Because I always say, gosh darn, you guys don't need us to show you houses. Literally, you can go on your phone and you can go into open houses, or you can call the realtor who lists the property, which I don't suggest that. But the point I'm making is you need us for the information that we provide. And I'm going to keep saying that and saying that and saying that hopefully somebody hears what I'm saying. Or if you're a new realtor in the business, 30 years. I've been serving the consumer, and I just got something to say. But nonetheless, like I said, we're going to take a little break and be right back.
Broken future, all the plans you made in your heart grew just to die. And now your damaged goods, damaged should have never been. Thought you were bulletproof, look at you, what happened? Did she hurt you? Are you okay, baby? Everyone gets hurt, that's how we learn to make love work. It's part of life, but if you need a lullaby, baby, don't cry no more. Just let her walk out your door. Baby, don't cry no more. Mama's here. I wrote a lullaby for you, to you. I wasted loving all the nights I spent wondering why we couldn't be. Ooh. And now that you're alone, you're on my phone, running game. But maybe, baby, when it settles in that you're to blame, we could move on, pick up where we went wrong, baby. Everyone gets hurt, that's how we learn to make love work. It's part of life, but if you need a lullaby, baby, don't cry
guys can hear me. I see my monitor going up and down. So hopefully you hear me. Okay, so let me go back and put that in. Okay, so anyway, I want to talk about them, see if this can get up here without losing me. Let's see, I'm going to put this up here. Please let it. Nope, let's see. Nope, it's too big, so I won't be able to use it because I was supposed to use it with another camera, but it's not working. But anyway, let's talk about some of the basic things that we as realtors are supposed to do. We should sit down with our clients and go over what our responsibilities are to you as your representative or your agent, your designated agent. And sometimes the proper things are not explained when you're sitting down, when an agent is sitting down. Because some of the things agents are sometimes afraid to talk about is dual agency. And personally, I don't do dual agency is because I find that it's difficult for me to represent both parties and not be able to fully represent somebody. But sometimes buyers and sellers don't mind. But if that situation were to happen with me, I would have to refer one of my clients out because I would want that client, whichever side that is, to be able to be fully represented. So dual agency is not something that is really, really explained. And I'm just going to say it in one thing is when you're a dual agent, you can't represent any side more than the other. You have to stand in the middle of the transaction and just say, okay, Mr. Seller, what do you want to do? Mr. Buyer, what do you want to do? After I have pretty much told you what your property is worth, what you should spend, blah, 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 blah. After that, I am not supposed to say anything to either side. Just say, here, sign, here, sign. Now, that's difficult to do. So that's one of the reasons why, just as simple as that, that I don't do dual agency. But when we sit down and talk to you about certain things, we need to tell you that we only represent you as your real estate agent. And we should know and explain all of the terms that are on each document that you're signing. You should be able to at least understand what you're signing when we're going through that with you. We should be able to answer basic questions. Now, when we step out of our lane, when you are asking us legal questions, when you're asking us questions about situations that are going on in the house, what could be a problem in an area? What do you think? That's when we should say, pump the brakes, and we should say, just like that situation I was talking about earlier. Never should we tell a buyer, do not get a home inspection. Never. I don't care. I mean, the only way they say they don't want to get it or a buyer doesn't want to get it is they say, I don't want a home inspection. And that realtor is supposed to say, do you really understand what you're doing? You're buying a property unsight, unseen, basically, not knowing maybe some of the things that are going on. You can't be 100% sure, but do you understand what you're doing? And if they say yes, well, then you've done your job in trying to explain. And we should be getting that in writing that you signed off on not doing a home inspection. But to tell someone not to have a home inspection, somebody loves lawsuits. That's all I can say. Or it just hasn't happened. And then we're not supposed to be acting as anything else but your real estate agent and being very effective in the things that we do. Understand the areas that we're presenting you, if those are the areas that you want, and we make sure that we cover the things that would help you to make that decision to buy in the area. Now, we can't get into demographics, can't get into what's the crime and all of that. What we have to say to you that there are websites that you can go to check that out. We should never say, oh, I know this area. There's not a whole lot of problems in this area. I know people down the block, blah 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 blah. Because then that's what you're making your decision on. And with, with our sellers, we should not, let me repeat, we should not be helping our sellers fill out the seller's disclosure. When I come to that point, when it's talking about the seller's disclosure, I say to my client, listen, I cannot help you with the seller's disclosure. If you've got any concerns about the disclosure, and that disclosure is a very powerful instrument that I just don't think people really understand the importance of it. Because if you answer that seller's disclosure and you knowingly know something is wrong and you answer that it's not, then a buyer can technically come back and have grounds to sue you. Now, if you don't fill it out when it's supposed to be filled out and the buyer gets it after he or she signs a contract, then that's grounds for voiding a contract. So these, again, I could really go deep, but I mean, some of the basic things that just we as professionals are not doing, it just disturbs me. And and now with the markets getting so hot, and I'm sort of sashaying into, with the markets being so hot now, and in some areas it's still hot. And what I mean by that is there's more. It's a seller's market. And that means sometimes when I'm explaining this to my husband, he's like, that doesn't make sense to me. How is it a seller's market when the buyers are buying? I'm like, it's a seller's market when there's less inventory on the marketplace. Then the sellers are more able to get the price that they're asking for. When there's a buyer's market and they're predicting that may be happening soon for a lot of reasons, which I'll have. That's another time and that's another show. But when there is more properties on the market than buyers, then that becomes a buyer's market. But right now, our markets are more favorable for the seller, and buyers are struggling right now, and I'm seeing it as because I'm more of one thing I didn't explain. I'm more of a listing agent, and that means I work more with sellers than I do buyers. And what I'm seeing in the marketplace with my clients is there is a big demand for investors to buy what they call medium income homes. And right now, that's good for them. But what that means for future buyers is just that home prices are not going to be affordable because you're going to have all these investors getting in the market and they're positioning themselves to buy these homes, so that they can rent them out and build their portfolio, their real estate portfolio, because they're finding it based on what I'm seeing or reading and understanding that they're finding that single family homes are becoming more financially stable for them. Even even with COVID, they seem to be more interested in middle class America type homes. And so all I can say is if a realtor is doing their job and they're doing their job well, if there is a property that that it's going to be a very hot market, or the market is hot, what your realtor should be doing is, one, just reaching out. And this is just what this is the information that I just want to share. Your realtor should be reaching out to the seller's realtor and just asking just basic questions. Well, what is the seller looking for, and what would be the best proposal for them. And hopefully the realtor may say, well, first I need to ask my client, because that's one of the other things that we do as realtors, that we speak for our clients before we ask our clients. And that's, you don't know what's going on most of the time, as buyers and sellers, but we should be first before we say anything. And I'm telling you about a funny situation. Before we say anything, we need to go to our clients and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I received a call from the listing agent. I mean, from the selling agent. and they're asking me these questions. How would you like for me to answer them? And then you give them the different scenarios of what that could be. And then they say to you, you know what? I don't mind you telling because I'm comfortable with this. And then that's your cue to go and say to the realtor, this is what my client says. Because I say it all the time. When realtors call me up and they're asking me these questions, and I know that I am not obliged to answer it until I ask my client, then I respectfully say, before I answer that question, let me speak with my client and let me see what their position is. And I will get back with you, in which I do, because we have to extend professional courtesy. I mean, because that's how, you keep a very integrable reputation in this business. I tried to say that slow. So, but I don't answer for my clients, and the reason I said I was saying tell you something funny is one of my clients, and I just won't go into who it is, but we're in this hot negotiation with all these investors, and they say to me, "Well, Dawn, you just handle." I'm like, "No, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? Because what I might be thinking is different than what you're thinking." And so, I mean, and it's always the case because no one person thinks absolutely the same way as someone else. So, and my client found that funny. Well, but I'm like, but I have to ask you because ultimately, I'm just going back on our conversation, because ultimately, you have to make that decision, not me. And so, but anyway, so you should have your realtor to really do their homework when you're in a very, very hot market, because that could be the difference. And honestly, or shall I say frankly, when I'm in a dual contracts or multiple contracts, as they say, if I'm in multiple contracts and my client has multiple contracts, then I what stands out to me is follow through with the realtor. Realtors follow through. Realtors checking to see, because a lot of times realtors are just send an offer and I won't even hear from them. Come on, I mean, you're representing your client. I mean, I get it. Technology makes it so that it does the talking for us, but we still have to provide service to our clients, and just sending out offers and not following up. I tell you, it still happens, and it surprises me how people just don't follow up and don't wait for an answer, or don't look for texts and emails to follow up on, so that they can at least tell their clients, well, this is what has happened with this particular scenario. So, I just think as professionals, we definitely gotta do a better job. I mean, it's if we don't, in terms of the marketplace, you guys are just gonna figure it out, and you won't need us anymore, and we'll be trying to figure out what we can do in order to stay in the business. But that's pretty much, kind of what I wanted to talk about. Um, there was something else I wanted to mention. Yeah, it did mention something else for clients in a hot market. Oh yes, I just want to just say, I don't want. Hopefully that didn't sound too loud. Uh, it's important to have an attorney. I know there are some states which I know. I mean, some states you can close an escrow, and you don't need an attorney. And but I can tell you right now, and I'm not pushing for for buyers and sellers to use attorneys, but it could be something as simple as case in point, something as simple as uh, things happen when in a mortgage situation, things happen. Things do happen. It could be an innocent oversight by a buyer that they just did not let their mortgage person know something was going on in terms of their finances. And so now the loan officer is doing what they're supposed to: get you ready, get you ready, get you ready, get you ready. And if you don't have an attorney who is on top of those contingencies in the contract, for whatever reason, they're not, if you don't have an attorney, or you have an attorney that's just not doing their job, one or the other, it can be the difference of the buyer and the seller fighting over earnest money. Because if you don't respond according to the time that is placed in that contract, and you don't have a realtor who is staying on top of it too, then that could be money that you're going to have to be haggling over to try and get, and until both parties decide who's going to get what, then you've got your money tied up. So I say, attorneys, you should use an attorney. My advice is you should use an attorney, because what you spend will more than compensate for what could potentially happen if you don't meet your deadlines. And so, with that being said, we're going to take another break, and when I come back, we're going to talk about cash investors, because they're out there, people, and they are flipping offers left and right. Sometimes some of them are flipping so many at you, they had no intentions. They're just throwing things out there. They're just throwing things out there. So the competition is out there with these investors, and I am just going to be talking to potential sellers who might be thinking, you know what, I just want to deal directly with a cash investor, because they have studied you, they have found your information, and sometimes it makes your head spin how quickly you get all of these envelopes and letters saying, hey, I'll give you this. You don't have to use a realtor. You can avoid appraisers and blah, 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 and we can get it done. And then you turn around and something else happens that can be mind boggling. So when I come back, we're going to talk about that. Let me make sure this is in the queue, and be right back.
I'll be missing you, love. Yeah, I'll be missing you, love. And the good times that we had, I'll be missing you, love. I'll be missing you and your love, your love, your love. When I think of you and the two of us together, it felt so good for so long. It was you and me forever. Now you walk away, maybe for the better. So tell me something true. Will you miss my love? Will you miss my love? All the good times that we had, will you miss my love? Will you miss me and my love, my love, my love? When I see you again, I wanna show you how I loved you. You were my one true friend, and I cherish every moment I got to spend with you. I have so much inside of me, I wanna tell you something true. I've been missing you, love. Yeah, I've been missing you, love. All the good times that we had, I've been missing you, love. I've been missing you and your love, your love, your love. I don't wanna waste your time, I don't wanna change your mind. Are you good times that we had. I'm still missing your love. I'm still missing you and your love, your love, your love. Oh baby, I'm still missing you. Still missing you, missing you.
All right, here we are. No wonder I was sounding good. I couldn't hear myself. Okay, I am back. It's good we caught that one. I took my hand off the driver's seat and boom, forgot to turn it on. But anyway, we're gonna talk about cash buyers. When should you or should you not use them? And of course, I am not here to talk about cash buyers because we need you guys. We need you in the marketplace. We need, that flexibility for our clients to have when, number one, they may have some things going on. So let me get my little cash buyer up there. No, we don't want you taking over the whole screen. Come out of there. Yeah, cash buyers, exactly what that is. They are offering you cash. They either have what is called an open line of credit, meaning they have access to cash where they can close rather quickly, or they're working with you call those money lenders, private lenders, hard money lenders. That's what you call them. You call them hard money lenders, meaning their terms might be a little bit higher and they got to put down a little bit more, but they have the cash, the liquidity, and the ability to get that amount of money in a very short period of time. So cash buyers are good because sometimes it may be a situation where you have someone needs to sell very quickly because of a loss, or they just inherited their parents' home and they need to liquidate very quickly. The home might need, and this night might be a little bit exaggerating, but some homes are in pretty bad condition, and they just don't want to go through they can get around an appraisal, they can get around the village telling them, what they have to do in order to close if they are able to get the cash investor to assume, as long as the property in some communities, they at least have to meet safety issues. You just can't you got to do a few things, but for the most part, you could not get a traditional buyer to go through purchasing the property because of the condition. And then the other thing, there you don't have to worry about. Let me put this guy up here. You don't have to worry about. Oh, didn't want him taking over my whole screen. You don't have to worry about home inspections, and that you don't have to worry about appraisals. So having a cash buyer, getting a cash buyer, could be an ideal situation. Now, when it may not be an ideal situation is when a cash buyer is just trying to get you to work strictly with them because they're looking to get that property as least as possible and do several things to rehab it, flip it, and realize a profit. Or they can wholesale it. And wholesaling it is basically buying it from you, having somebody in the background, or what, not literally in the background, but having someone waiting because now they're pitching your property to somebody else. And now you can literally the example that you looked here, they used here, and I might as well use it because it sounds pretty good. You can literally sell your property for 65,000. Because you just want to get rid of it very quickly, just dealing with one buyer, and then you turn around a couple of 30, within 30 days, 45 days, you see if you care to do, you turn around and you check your property, your old property, and now that same investor is selling it for 110,000. So that means you just gave, not you personally, but you just gave an investor almost 35, 40,000 that could have been in your pocket, and found a buyer or an investor who would have spent the 110,000, knowing that the value of it, once it's been updated, they can sell it for 160,000. So there still would have been room for everyone to make a profit, knowing that the base of your property, you still got the highest best offer. So now, if you take that same scenario and you decide to list it, you then open up your chance. And I do want to say, though, when I got to show this picture, when you do uh, at least file for probate or estate, and you are going through the judicial process to get the property, if you've inherited, or you got it through the loss of a loved one, you will get so much mail. I have a client who, she just received so much mail. She was like, I was tempted to sell it to a investor, a cash investor, and she would have only been looking at about $50,000. But now that she did reach out to an attorney and found a real estate agent that same property as is with the condition that it's in, we listed it for 90,000. So, it is, and I can't, again, I want to go back and say, I'm not knocking investors. All I'm trying to do is just equip you. If you know of someone who has a property that's in pretty bad shape, and it just, you don't have the wherewithal or the means to do whatever that needs to get it in compliance, then yes, selling it to a cash buyer would be the best approach for you. But when you're listing it, let me put this picture up here. You have a chance. Well, no, wrong picture. You have a chance to entertain quite a few offers, and you get investors that are still, even though it's listed, they're gonna try to push the envelope, and they're going to come down 30, 40, 50, sometimes even close to 100,000. I mean, a real story. A house that was worth, one of my listings was worth almost 400,000, and the guy just wanted to give them 25,000. I'm like, is he crazy? But anyway, that just goes to show. And when he was talking to me, this buyer, this cash buyer, is almost like I was living in planet Moon trying to convince him, no, my client is not interested in your offer. And he wanted to chew my ears out. And I'm like, sir, thank you. I appreciate it. But we're going to continue moving forward, finding a buyer that meets my client's expectation. But investors are gonna, they're gonna still, if it's still listed, they're gonna try, because they're going to these programs. And I went to the program myself, and just to kind of see what that program entailed. And it was good for me, because now I know what exactly the procedures that investors will use. But again, the point I'm just trying to say is, if you decide to sell just strictly to an investor, you might be leaving some money on the table. And as hard as the person, if you're selling it for a family because of a lost loved one, or you're just trying to move it fast, and I understand, you could still do have those same mechanisms where where you don't have to worry about it being you don't have to worry about an appraisal. You don't have to worry about all the other things that come along with an investor, because a lot of times these cash investors will also say, well, I'll take care of title. Of course, why wouldn't you take care of title? I mean, compared to what you're going to make, versus what the cost of the title and all the other expenses to close with. That's just a scratch on the, scratch on your hand compared to what you're going to get. So why not pay 3,500, 4,000 on the title cost, depending on the price of the property, when you're going to be making over 40 or $50,000 in return for that. So, so it sounds good, but at the end of the day, I say it's always better. It's always better to have a more of an opportunity to ensure the highest best price for your as is. Just because it's as is does not mean you can't get what the property is worth in the condition that it's in. And as I alluded to earlier, investors are looking for opportunities out there. And when they see it, they're going to, it's not personal. When they see it, they're going to try to get, the least amount they can for the property. But you also have to look at, if you do decide you're going to just go alone and you're going to just work with an investor, just be very careful, because there's a lot of scams out here. I mean, I even still see it, and I've listed properties. I've got these investors just throwing out offers, and with no intent, maybe to not even buy the property, but they're just putting a whole bunch of offers out there and seeing who's going to pay them what their threshold is. And so here you are, you received an offer, and your clients are like, ah, and then I say, pump the brakes, because we don't know, the intent of these investors. We do not know the intent of these investors until they put money on the table, and I mean earnest money, because some of them want to spend almost over $100,000 and $200,000 in for a cash offer, but they just want to put $1,000 down. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but that's not, it's, if they put $1,000 down and they don't go through with it, it's probably just us. There's not really what I would say more. That's not a good amount of skin in the game. So you want to also too, because they also their mind mantra is you put down 500 if you're just dealing with them directly. You only put down minimum, and then you offer what they think you offer them what they think you feel they'll take. So, but that said, I think that I covered what I could. You got the options. You want to sell cash, you do, and I just want to say, just kind of leave your options open. You just don't want to always go for, and I tell my clients, let's just, yes, it's good to have an offer that comes in. It's good to see that at least there's interest, but at the same time, just don't be so quick to answer these cash buyers, because that's what they're hoping for, that they get you on those emotions of you want to get rid of the house rather quickly and not have the hassle of dealing with anything else. And then if it is a property that sometimes, the properties come with a lot of personal items that are left in the property. And so the key to, if you're selling it directly to a cash buyer, or even putting it on the market, your realtor should be able to assist you in finding the necessary things to help you, or the necessary resources to help you rid some of the things that you're not going to be taking with you. And you want to do that, because I'm telling you, investors will use that to even come down further on your property, because they're thinking, they've have their history of getting houses where the sellers just leave it, and then they have to deal with getting all the items out of there. But what they're going to spend, it's not going to be worth you leaving tens and thousands of dollars on the table, because they're willing to take care of that for you. So I think, we're coming to the end. I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. I don't think there's anything else for today. And usually I try to do an hour, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an hour. But I thank you. I wanted to Because if I do this, it's going to cover my face, but I'm going to do it anyway. It'll just cover my face. So here we go. Nope, that's not it. That's too small. There we go. Oh, it didn't do too bad. I can move over. Yes, that's my contact information. If you'd like to, I always say today is a good day for you to call your realtor. And my name is Dawn Haley, and there's my office number and my website address. And I will tell you that I will be in the midst of changing over my website to a different service provider. So if you go on there and you don't get through, it's just I'm in the midst of changing it over. But you can always reach me on my cell phone. And I'm very good. If you call me on the weekends, I won't return your call until that Monday, but I do return my phone calls. And so I thank you. I thank you very much for, let me take that out. I thank you very much for spending the evening with me. And next couple of weeks, I'll be back at it again. But I've got some properties that I'm probably going to showcase within the next couple of days. So I want to share those with anybody that might be interested or know someone who might be interested. A couple of them are investment properties. So at any case, I thank you guys. Let me get this ready. Let me reset this. All right. I thank you guys. Have a good evening. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and just not only take care of yourself, take care of somebody else. Good night.
How do we get this low? You come over and we start a fight. Never know who's wrong or right. Feel nothing when you go. I know it's not intelligent, drinking for the hell of it, but that's irrelevant now. We should talk about us. How come we're holding on? Cause really I don't see the benefits now. When you've broken my trust, so I just wonder, why do I fall back to you? Really nothing I can do about it. Why do I fall back to you? It's like you're a drug to me, I can't quit. It's not like we're still 22, trying something new, just a pastime. I don't think that we ever could work this out. None of it makes sense, there's no reason why I still fall back to you. I should probably let you go. I know I can be cynical, make everything difficult, but it will take a